evening, Braves country. How you doing? This is Coach Anderson coming for Hardcore Braves, and look who we got on the podcast. I got my man Ryan, and here's Benjamin. Finally back on the podcast. Y'all been wanting him. How y'all doing tonight, guys?
I'm doing fantastic, Ken. We had a 6-1 road trip. I don't know how you could not be happy if you're a Braves fan. 6-1 road trip. You're in first place in the NL East, and you got two teams that were supposed to be competing with you that are about to be buried. I am very happy. How are you doing, guys?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Like you said, 6-1 road trip. I mean, if these boys don't go 7-0 on the road trip, then it's kind of a failure. No, I'm just kidding. It was a great road trip, man. They're playing some really great ball right now. I'm loving to see it.
Yeah, I am too. And so we're going to try a little something different on kind of just take the 4 game set, and we're not going to break it down game by game. Y'all saw it with the first game. We were able to win behind Bryce Elder, and then second game. If you're going to break a 6 game losing streak, you do it in grand style, and we did that. We did about everything you could possibly do wrong. And in game three, Fuentes had a rough first inning, and then he kind of got through it, and Perez pitched well, and we got a big win. Our offense broke loose, and then we'll tap into J.R. Ritchie, the major league debut. So I start with the starting pitchers, guys. Okay, so we had Elder, who struggled. I think the cold of the weather had a little bit of something in his grip with the ball in the first inning, but he got us to the seventh inning. Bryce is becoming a real stud for us. Game two, Raylo pitched and couldn't get out of the second inning, and he just didn't really look good. His velo is down, and all you are concerned about where he's at, I think you have some validity to that. Game three, Fuentes, he threw the ball well. I mean, 7 strikeouts show how well he throws the ball. He's got great stuff. He just got to get his command of his off speed, and he'll be okay. And then J.R. Ritchie, first pitch home run to James Wood, but then my God, he just smoked the Nationals and looked good. So overall, starting pitching, what kind of grade would you give it, Ben? And what do you think about the 4 starters in the National Series?
As far as a letter grade, I'd probably go a B, and that's probably heavily weighted by J.R. Ritchie's outing in Game Four. I know starting pitching has been one of our key cogs in the machine this year so far, and they struggled a little bit in this series. It wasn't what we've been becoming used to over the course of the first 3-4 weeks of the season, but I do think they didn't do bad. It's not like anybody blew up or anything like that. But J.R. Ritchie, that kid, he can throw a baseball. He can throw a baseball for my team any day of the week after that performance. So he's the real deal.
I agree. How about you, Ron?
Well, I would give the starting pitching, if I'm being honest with you, Ken, I'd give them a C. They were just not very good. I know Bryce struggled a little bit, but he bared down and got us through it. Lopez was an absolute disaster out there on the mound, for lack of better words, unfortunately. I know it's his first blow up, but the underlying metrics on Lopez are very questionable, so people do have validity with that. And then you had Fuentes come up. Look, he's going to be really, really good. I know, Ben, you cover the minor leagues a lot more than I do, and you watch him probably a lot more than I have. What I saw, he's got an electric fastball, but his off-speed command's just not there yet. I don't think he is quite ready for the big leagues yet on a starter basis. But J.R. Ritchie really reeled it in in the last game of the series. I got a fun stat for you here, real quick, if I can pull it up. J.R. Ritchie was the first pitcher in Braves franchise history to go 7 innings while allowing only 2 earned runs or less and striking out at least 7 batters. So he had the best starting pitcher debut in Braves history. So for that, it pulled the grade up from a D all the way up to a C plus.
And to give you a hint of that, chat, there's some guys hanging in the rafters that made their major league debut with the Braves, and being Phil Niekro, Warren Spahn, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine. So we're not saying J.R. Ritchie is going to be a Hall of Famer, but that start was pretty special. For me, the grade would be I would give J.R. an A minus, Bryce a B plus. I would give Dieter a C minus, and I would give Raylo an F. And so because of that, mine's kind of in between y'all, and I'm going to go B minus. But I can see the C plus, and I can see the B plus. I just think it was overall was not our best series starting pitching. Now it seems like that they're going to kind of keep Richie up. Ian Hamilton is outrighted, and what's our thoughts on Jr.? Do we think he needs to stay up the rest of the year, or how are we going to approach that, Ben?
Well, I think CJ Nikowski had a pretty good story on the broadcast. I think it was yesterday, where he was talking about how his first 7 starts in the major leagues, whenever he first came up, they were pretty good. He did a good job, and then he kind of struggled and got sent back down. And I don't think we should solidify J.R. Ritchie in the rotation for good right now. But while he is pitching well and figuring things out, we are going to have some growing pains, and we shouldn't be so quick to pull the trigger either. If he has 1 outing or 2 outings, whatever, that aren't this particular, like just exactly how he did with 7 innings and 2 runs, then don't push the panic button either. We kind of have to temper expectations. Rookie pitchers, rookies in general are just volatile. But I think he's definitely earned another turn through the rotation, at least one. I would give him another 2 or 3, but I think he's earned it.
I agree, and I think that one of the things the Braves getting off to such a great start and building a big lead, Ryan, is it'll enable us to maybe play around a little bit and let some of the young kids pitch in situations, and if they fail, maybe give them another start. What do you think about Jr. and his availability for 2026 in the starting rotation?
I am all in for J.R. Ritchie making multiple more starts. Look, I know Strider's coming back, but you got to look at the option of moving Raylo or Grant to the middle relief role that we have so desperately struggled with this year with the Atlanta Braves. So, and if JR can come in and be a number 4, number 5 starter and solidify that with Strider coming back, sliding into the number 2, and way Bryce has been pitching, I mean, I like it. And look, I will live with this through some growing pains with a young kid as long as we can give him the ball every 5 days and he can go out there and learn. Look, if it was a tight race and we didn't have as much room as we did in the NL East right now, I don't know if you do that. But at the same point in time, we probably don't have a whole lot better options right now than J.R. Ritchie either, and that's a pretty good option. So I look forward to his next start, and I hope the kid really takes off. But as Ben said, you're going to have growing pains because it's a rookie pitcher. So bear with him, please.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So the starting pitching was mediocre. We're all agreeing on that. What level of that is discernment. But let's get to the bullpen. The bullpen is pretty easy to grade normally, and it was this series here. The back end of the bullpen, Kenley, Lee, Suarez was very good, and there were spotty performances by the rest of them. The one guy out of the pen that does not get enough love this year by Braves country, and Walt keeps telling everybody in every press conference that he pitches, is Martin Perez. Martin Perez has done everything they need a veteran pitcher to do, whether it's start or come out of the pen. He kind of saved the game on Wednesday by holding them to get to the back end of the bullpen. We'll get to the injuries here in a little bit because the Braves didn't have a lot of pitching that night. Uh, Ben, what do you think about Martin Perez? He has meant a little something to the Braves this year. It's a really nice pickup.
Yeah, and I would like to start off by saying you forgot one of the biggest pieces of the bullpen. He came in today and pitched just a fantastic inning, and that's Cookie Carrasco. All right, let's
Yeah,
not forget about him.
yeah.
Um, but
Always
no,
good to have a cookie.
Martin Perez and Cookie Carrasco both. They are veteran presences in that bullpen, and I don't expect Carlos Carrasco to be up for a while, but I am fully expecting Martin Perez to be with the big league club for the long haul. At this point, I mean, the guy has been there, he's done that, he's been a good major league pitcher for the majority of his career, and I can't say enough about the guy. He's not he's not the stuff darling that a lot of folks like to see, but he gets outs and he can help these young pitchers navigate a major league season. So good on Martin Perez, man, and they obviously can't say enough nice things about him.
I agree, Ben. So overall, on the bullpen, what kind of grade would you give the bullpen this series? Um, I, it's kind of tough to grade because the back end of the bullpen is pretty good for us. Maybe one of the best back ends in baseball, and the middle of the relief guys like Ryan touched on can be a little scary. So, what's the overall grade for this series for the bullpen?
I mean, we won 3 out of 4, so I can't be too hard on them. I mean, I can give them a B plus, just because they did the job that they needed to do at the end of the day. We won 3 out of 4, and that's about all I can say.
All right, Ryan. So, what do you think about the bullpen in general? One of the things that was frustrating for me was the Tuesday night game with some of the guys didn't come in and throw strikes, and that really bounce back and win Wednesday and Thursday was really major because we really taxed our bullpen by throwing a lot of pitches on Tuesday night, and that was disheartening by some of the lower end. Of course, we already let Hamilton go, but Hyams has been hit or miss all year. We need him to at least throw strikes. And but what is your grade on the bullpen in this series?
So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach because Raylo threw them completely under the damn bus in game 2, and I'm going to take that into consideration that the bullpen had to cover 8 innings that game. They had to come back the next game, cover 6 more innings before they got some relief with J.R. Ritchie and only had to cover the last 2. So I'm giving them an A plus because they did way more than they should have been asked to do in this series, and they picked up the starters when the starters finally had a little bit of an oopsie moment in Washington. So I'm giving the bullpen an A plus. Look, we can sit here and talk about the 12 walk. God, believe me, y'all know how much I can't stand pitchers throwing strikes, but at the same point in time, I'm not going to kill over them because, they're not supposed to throw 8 innings a game. They're supposed to be throwing maybe a couple times a week. So I'm going to give them an A.
Hold on now, Coach. You caught that right? Ryan said he can't stand pitchers coming in throwing strikes. All right, that's what he said.
Walk or can't stand them throwing balls. You know what I mean? I can't stand them walking people. Come on now. Everybody
Yeah,
who listens to this podcast knows I can't stand them walking people. God bless.
yeah, it was a rough Tuesday night. Like I said, though, if you're going to end losing a winning streak, you might as well just go all out, and they did that. So no harm, no foul. We bounced back Wednesday and Thursday. I would probably give it a solid B plus. I love the back end of our bullpen. Kenley at the homestand kind of had a little bit of a hiccup with his control, but it seems like he's getting that under control. And that's big because in this series we lost 2 guns. I'm a big Dylan Dodd guy, so his injury seems a little bit maybe serious. It's a spinal injury. Hopefully not. Iglesias injury is they think is probably going to be okay, and he should be back sooner than later. So I think that the bullpen is doing really well. What do you think about the losses of Iglesias and Dodd, and how do you think that affects us going forward here, Ben?
Well, the loss of Iglesias would hurt tremendously if this were last year. And I think you gotta. I know there's a lot of people out there who love to give Alex Anthopoulos a lot of crap for not signing big name this guy or big name that guy. But you got to give credit where credit is due. And that man went out and signed Robert Suarez to a contract and in the offseason. And if it weren't for Robert Suarez, I would be extremely nervous with Iggy going down, regardless of how serious the injury is. But since we have Robert Suarez, somebody like that who can step in and fill that closer role, and you got to think now, over the last 3 seasons in baseball, he's led Major League Baseball in saves. So it's not like he hadn't been there and done that either. But I think that I'm not as worried about Raisel Iglesias' injury because we have somebody backing him up. Dylan Dodd, however, I am concerned about that because we could really use another good lefty in the bullpen. I know we have Aaron Bummer. I'm not a big Aaron Bummer guy. I know he has his moments, but the guy just has not consistently got the job done in a couple of years now. And so Dylan Dodd going down kind of leaves us a lefty short, and I'm nervous about that. But Dylan Lee is a fantastic left-handed reliever, but we can't rely on him to come out there and get every single situation. So his Dodd going down is a little bit more alarming to me than Rysel.
I totally agree, and I think that's the move that somehow we got to figure out. A left-handed arm. I love the way that Jeremy is using Dylan to keep his arm fresh because we know that he got overused a little bit last year, Ryan. So overall, what do you give the bullpen grade, and then what do you? I mean, not grade, but what do you think about with the injuries with Iglesias and Dodd, and going forward? What do you think it sets us up? Maybe going to the trade deadline and bringing a left-hander in. And I do like, real quick, I do like you saying that Holmes and Raylo going to that middle setup kind of guy, the sixth, seventh inning, could be a route that we may have to go just to solidify that bullpen. But Ryan, what do you think about the Iglesias and Dodd going down in the same series?
Well, it sucks that they both went down. I'm a little bit more concerned with Dodd's being a spine injury because I mean, anything involving the spinal cord means walking and just doing basic stuff. So I hope it's nothing serious with Dylan first and foremost, and prayers are out to him. Iggy, he kind of reminds me of when I wake up in the morning when your shoulders are pretty stiff and you're just like, God, I can't move this morning. So, Iggy, join the club, brother. It just took you a little bit longer because you're a professional athlete, but welcome. I don't. It's not going to be long. I would be surprised if it was anything over the 15-day IL. I'm not worried about Iggy at all. It's going to be just fine. Um, you're going to have to address the left-handed reliever in the trade market right around the deadline time. I don't think there's any way around that, especially with Dylan Dodd, who was like your first bullet up in that situation. Because Bummer, I know he's making $9 million, but I can't stand Aaron Bummer, as you guys know. He has his moments here and there, but he gives you a heart attack in between, and I'd rather not deal with that in October if we get there. But that's kind of where I'm at. You got to address the left-handed reliever market and the trade market, and I think moving Raylo and or Grant to the bullpen once you get healthy, aka Schwelly, aka Waldrip coming back into the mix along with Strider, I think that really solidifies the bullpen and makes this team the best version of itself.
I totally agree. So let's get to the favorite part of our team. They're absolutely just been phenomenal this year, and I know Ryan has a couple of stats on them. But we hit the baseball a ton. Now, what's really funny is that in the Tuesday game, we decided, well, we're going to help our pitchers out too. And Ronnie and Matt and Austin went 1 for 12 in that game with a walk. So it just overall Tuesday night's one of those games, as I put out on Twitter, like Snit used to say, it's just one of them games. I mean, you just move on from it, and they did that. But overall, the other three games, they mashed the baseball. Michael Harris had a huge series. Matt Olson had a huge series. Ozzie had a big series. Drake didn't have a huge series, but he had some very big clutch hits in the series. Benjamin, what do we grade the Atlanta Braves offense in the Nat series where they put up quite a bit of runs?
Um, you know, in school they tell you that the A+ is the best grade you can get. However, I watch a lot of YouTube videos and people do like tier lists. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, but they usually have an S tier above the A, and that's what I'm giving our offense. Our offense is an S tier. We I posted it on Twitter this morning. The stats comparing the 2026 offense to the 2025 offense through the 26 game mark, and the 2023 offense through the 26 game mark. And I did those on purpose. All right, the 2025 offense we know stunk. And at the end of the year, we looked back and we were like, "Dadgum!" I mean, a lot of people were asking, "Is this core really the guys?" You know. And in 2023, they were one of the best offenses of all time. And a lot of the metrics surprised me through 26 games of this year, because pretty much everything besides home runs was better than 2023's offense through 26 games of the year. And that is how good these guys have been. I'm not saying it's going to continue the rest of the year, but what I am saying is the offense is back. They're good. They are good hitters, great hitters, if I will. And I just can't say enough about the offense, man. They're fantastic, and I love watching these guys step in the batter's box every night.
I do too, and you know, we do our hitting show to get ready for the series, and Ryan does a great job with that. And we also have pick the clicks, and of course, even on the podcast, we have guys that will come up with the Philly series here, who we think needs to be big. And if you're not following Bray's hip coil, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially if you're on the betting lines. Because right now, me and Ryan are hot. I had Matt Olson. Matt was 6 for 17 with 6 RBIs, a home run, and a couple doubles. But Ryan, I'm going to get you gray, but you can go ahead and gloat, because probably the hitting star in this series, and somebody's getting red hot right now, is Michael Harris, and that was your pick to click. So what do you think about our offense? You can go ahead and gloat because you're crushing the pick to clicks and Brace hip coil. So the floor is yours, Superman.
I absolutely love watching my team hit again. And I can't express how much joy that brings me. And I just enjoy sitting in my couch every night at 7 o'clock watching these guys grind out at bats. It's absolutely phenomenal again. My offense, it would be like Ben said, S tier, and if there's a tier higher than that, give them that, because they are just absolutely phenomenal. They're grinding out at bats. You know, they're sticking with their plan, their approach at the plate. They're not deviating from it unless the pitcher makes them deviate from it, and then even then their backup plan is still coming into play. They're just really good. They're really good. And for you guys who are nitpicking Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr., and amongst others who are struggling right now, stop. This team's good, and they're going to get better. They haven't even hit their ceiling yet. That's how good this lineup is this year. Just to gloat a little bit, my pick to click was Money Mike, as Ken said, and he was 7 for 16 with 2 bombs, and he drove in 7 runs, and he continues to be the majority owner of the Washington Nationals.
He didn't hit 500, and you're saying you're gloating about that? Come on now.
I know, absolutely incredible, isn't it?
And what's funny is one of those outs was 110-mile-an-hour line drive that Wood made a great catch on. So
wasn't another one? I'm sorry to cut you off,
no
Tim, but
good.
wasn't another one 114.2 mile per hour ground out?
Yeah.
The hardest hit ball he ever hit in his career.
Yes, he crushed the ball. It was amazing. And when he gets hot, and we all think he can be a 30-30 guy, at least a 25-25 guy, and that's just amazing to put him out there with Ronnie. We're going to do a little gloating a little bit later on in the show too, guys. When we say something hardcore, you might want to jump on the bandwagon. We're kind of hitting home runs right now. One of the things I want to talk about our offense is all 3 wins we trailed. We went down. And last year, it felt like when we went down, game was over. It really did. And I'm one of the most optimistic. Well, all 3 of us were 3 of the more optimistic fans on social media. But even last year, we're inside chat boxes with each other like, this is horrible. We're done. The game's over. We're down 2-0. We can't hit with runners scoring. Now you don't even realize you're down 2-0, Ben. It's just like, okay, yeah, all right, here we go. Let's go hit. it feels like the 2023 season all over again. Like we can score whenever we need to, and any deficit is not something we can't come back from. All right.
Yeah, I don't know, Ryan, if you can pull up my other tweet from today about the Braves with runners in scoring position, but I don't know if you saw it or not. But I looked it up, and the Braves are second in major leagues in home runs. They are first in runs scored. They have the second highest batting average with runners in scoring position. But guess how many home runs they have with runners in scoring position? Three. That is fourth fewest, I believe, in all of Major League Baseball. And I say that not as a criticism of this team. I say that as this team in 2026 is finding a way to drive the runner in. They are sticking with their approach, like Ryan said. They are being patient at the plate. They are waiting on their pitch. They're not hitting the long ball. They're not relying on the long ball to cover that ground whenever they have runners in scoring position. And that's something that you need, not just for regular season play, but for postseason play too. The home run ball, everybody knows it's important. Everybody knows that you need those. But the situational hitting, the fact that you can get runners in and without having to crush a home run every time, there's something to be said about that. And it's a beauty to watch these guys play the game like that.
I agree, and I think the difference between this 2026 team and the 2023 team, Ryan, is it can actually be better than the 2023 team because they play such quote unquote what we say in the old school small ball. Ryan, they're able to score runs without the home run now, and that can make them a very dangerous team in 2026. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean when and it's not just the hitting either, right? They're not station to station on the base paths anymore. They got speed. Michael Harris is healthy. Ronald Acuna Jr. is healthy. Austin Riley's running really well. Matt Olson, believe it or not, is running. It seems like a little bit better around the bases. Drake Baldwin's pretty good for a catcher. They got
He
Mateo
stole
on
the
the
base.
bench. I know they got Eli White on the bench. This team has speed. They are athletic, and it's not just okay. We're gonna get on base and we're gonna slug the home run. No, it's gonna be we're gonna get on base. We're gonna hit a single that's gonna get us first to third, and then bam, sack fly, and you're up 1-0 in the first inning. Like this team knows how to score runs, and they don't need the long ball to do it. And what have we been saying since 2024? We need to be able to get the guy in from runner to third base with less than 2 outs. Well, here you go, chap. They're finally doing it. It only took them a few years, but they finally got it going.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things, the last thing we're going to look at is how our coaches are in each series. Uh, I'll just let you know if anybody doesn't grade this coaching staff right now an A+, then they're just very too critical. They're hitting on all cylinders. Part of the reason they're running the bases so well is because they went out and got Antoine Richardson. You know, Mr. Watkins at third base, I don't know if he's made a mistake yet. He's been, he's been spot on when sending runners or holding up runners. He's going to make a mistake. So y'all don't bury him, but he's had a great start. Jeremy Hefner has been outstanding. I mean, just across the board. And Walt is a little bit different in that he's managing every game to win, which is really kind of nice. That's what Braves Country has always wanted. And the coaching staff has been phenomenal, Ben. And I don't think anybody cannot give this coaching staff right now an A+. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And for the people out there listening who are also Marvel fans, I mean, it felt like Walt Weiss is basically Thanos right now, and all of these coaches were the Infinity Stones. All right, you just got this collection of baseball knowledge and coaching ability that has just wowed everybody in Braves country. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job every step of the way. Antoine Richardson, I think a lot of the early season issues that we were having, like runners getting picked off and that sort of thing, not getting the best jumps, I think that has a lot to do with the change in philosophy more than it is Antoine Richardson's coaching. If Antoine Richardson can get one freaking Soto to steal 38 bases, then I think that this team can be one of the top 10 in the league in stolen bases by the end of the year. They just have to buy in, and we all know it took a while for them to buy into Tim Heyer's philosophies whenever it comes to hitting. So it may take a little bit of growing pains to grow into Antoine Richardson's philosophy, but I think they can do it, and they're really getting it. They're cutting the bases great. They're doing everything good on the bases right now.
Yeah, I agree. And last year we had to change third base coaches, and Freddie had to come out of retirement because how bad we coached third base, Ryan. And Tommy is doing a great job of coaching third base. And Brian Kenny did a thing on MLB Now that the Mets letting Richardson and Hefner go, the two things they're really struggling with this year is in the pitching, in the bullpen, and in they're running the bases horribly. One of the bottom five teams in the MLB. If anybody saw a couple nights ago, Vientos ran through a complete stop sign and got hosed at home by the Twins. It cost them a game. What would you give this grade of our coaching staff? And again, it's hard to believe it's not an A+, but what do you think how our coaches are doing the first 26 games?
It's S tier.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. It's best in the business right now, man. And there's no room for complaints because I'll be honest with you, it was not like that last year. So they're doing really, really good this year.
No, it's a big difference, and I'm, was a real big supporter, but it was like a zombie mode last year, and we've gone back to being the Atlanta Braves, and it's really nice to have. So, with the series done, we win 3 out of 4. You got to have an MVP, and you got to have a play of the series. Let's start with the MVP of the series, and Ryan, we'll go ahead and start with you. Who is your MVP of this series?
The gentleman that you just saw swing the bat right there, Michael Harris II. I mean, 7 for 16 with a couple bombs and 7 RBIs, and the series is going to do that for you. Money Mike is my MVP of the series.
Yeah, it's a pretty good choice. Ben, you got anybody different you like to shout out?
Cookie Carrasco getting the ninth inning yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't have anybody different, man. I wish I could, but it's hard to go against Money Mike right now. I mean, he is playing like a superstar, and I said it for years now. If he could just get his walk rate to 6%, he would be a superstar and he would be getting MVP votes. And I'm not saying he's going to continue it throughout the entire year, but if you look at his Savant page, he's got a 6.1% walk rate. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but toot toot. All right. So Money Mike is my pick as well.
Yeah, I look at the MVP of this series. If when you go to the Olympics, if you can somehow get yourself up on the medal stand, you've had a great great Olympics. And that's how I'm gonna look at this series. We'll give Ozzy the bronze, we'll give Matt the silver, but it's hard not to give Money Mike the gold. But those three left-handed hitters, and again, not without Ryan Show, but at Braves hip coil, it was spot on that the Nationals, if our left-handed hitters would perform, we should be able to tattoo the baseball and score a lot of runs, and we did that. And it was kind of perfection, and it was really good to see. And again, to Ryan's point, Ronnie and Austin are off a tick right now. Yaz is off they're getting close too, and so it's hard to have everybody in the lineup go. So if they get hot and a couple guys regress, we still should be able to score some runs. So with that said, play of the series, Ryan, what do you have?
Oh, man, I got 2. The first one was Mr. Drake Baldwin's big 2 runs. I think it was a 2-run double in Game 3 that gave us the lead when we were trailing by like 1 or we were tied. So Drake Baldwin's going to get some love for that. And then the next one was in Game 4. The Braves, I think, were only up by a run, and Ozzy Albies comes up and smokes a baseball through the hole that drives in 2 to kind of bust the game open and push the Braves over the top for the series. Those are my 2 plays of the series.
How about you, Ben? What you got?
Yeah, I love Ozzy Albies pick right there. That's one of mine as well. But I think my biggest one, and it may not be the biggest play of the series, but to me it was the most impactful. Matt Olson's 3-run home run. That was a huge momentum changer. Felt like it kind of just sucked the life out of the Nationals after that, and it showed me that this, which I already knew from earlier in the year, but this team just doesn't quit. They don't quit at all. And Matt Olson coming up big right there with a 3-run bomb, it really just solidified that, Jock Peterson might have been right. He's never wrong. He's just early. And so, if you know, you know. But I think those 2 are my picks: Ozzy Albies and then the Matt Olson 3-run homer.
That's 2 great picks, and Jock might be right. This team also we might be these MFers this year too because we look great. So,
Yeah,
go pitching coach. Can I go ahead and give you a couple of big plays in the series by our pitchers? Um,
absolutely.
Martin Perez. We just like to Ryan's point. We got a 1 inning start out of our starter on Tuesday. We threw a rookie. I know he's not a pure rookie, but Fuentes, he did everything he could to get through 3. If Martin doesn't give us those 3, there's no way we win 3 out of 4. He doesn't. There's no way we get to the back of the bush. So I'm gonna give Martin some love, and the other one is I got to give the kids some love because now we're really decimated with the bullpen. And J.R. Ritchie just went out and shoved, and I can't imagine what his emotions were. I love the way he handled the James Wood home run. He said, I knew he was going to, try to do something. He said, I just missed my location. He said, I tried to throw a fastball on the outside because I knew he'd be hunting heater right there because of the whole situation, it being his first major league start. And he missed location. And James Wood is red hot, by the way, Braves country. He's having a phenomenal year. So you better not miss. And he missed. But that's my 2 plays of the series. I think they were outstanding. So before we get a little heads up on what's coming up this weekend home, we're back at home. Anything else you want to add from the series, Rhino?
Yeah, I got 2 things from the series. Number 1, I love the Braves doing what they did in Game 1 with when Ronald got hit twice, and they sent a message immediately to the Washington Nationals and said that shit's not going to be tolerated. If you're going to pitch inside, you better hit the glove because we're not losing our superstar because your pitchers can't find the glove. And the second thing is, it's going to be a little tip of the cap to the Washington Nationals. James Wood is obviously fun as hell to watch. I'm not denying that. But there was one player that really stood out over him for me, and that was the Lyle kid. I think he plays the left field. That kid can play. That kid can flat out hit. They got a really good one with him, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think the Lyle kid's going to be special. His swing from that left side is beautiful. And as far as the way, I want to give a praise to Elder there. He did exactly what he wanted. He geared down the fastball from 92 that he was throwing to 88, so he didn't overthrow it, and he hit him right in the ass, which is perfect. Bryce got to get some love there. And CJ, the way he handled it, I think he went on deck and probably told him, said, I'm going to first, boys, here because I'm fixing to get drilled. And the way the Nationals and Braves handled that whole process, thumbs up and tip of the cap to y'all because that's outstanding. That's how it should be handled. I know everybody doesn't want these beam brawls. It wouldn't be if everybody did what the Braves and Nationals did. They took care of it and they moved on. It was really good. So, how about you, Ben? Any last thoughts you have about the series?
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons it didn't turn into an all-out brawl is because we have Walt Conor McGregor Weiss in the dugout. The Nationals are probably afraid of him. But no, I want to piggyback off of one of your plays of the series, and that's J.R. Ritchie. I don't think I talked about him enough, but he was phenomenal in this start to come in against an offense who statistically was the second best offense in baseball, behind the Braves. Um, to do what he did and especially bear down after James Wood ambushed him in that first inning on the first pitch, that kid, that showed some maturity, that showed some gumption and some get after it. And I think that that is something that this rotation is needed, and they all of them have shown that so far this year. You have everybody who has been just really, really working their butts off to improve and get better. And I think J.R. Ritchie fits the mold. And he also fits exactly what Jeremy Hefner likes, is a guy with a bunch of different pitches who can throw all different quadrants of the strike zone. Like if you looked at one of those pitch models of J.R. Ritchie, there's nothing in the middle of the plate at all. You look at the pitch, the pitch model from the game, and it's like bottom right corner, bottom left corner, top right corner, top left corner. Everything's all in the corners. Nothing's in the middle of the strike zone, and he did a great job navigating a hot Nationals offense.
Yeah, I agree. Then, and I think Braves country, we all warned them that how good the offense was, and they didn't really listen to us. And about game two, they were like, "Holy hell, this team can really rake," and they really can. If they had any kind of bullpen, and they have two starters that are really struggling this year, but if they had any help right there, they'd be above 500 team right now because they can really hit the baseball. So we move into the Philly series. Um, I know that. They're a wounded dog coming in here, but I think we're going to get a great fight out of them. What are your keys? What do you think is going to get us a winning series and still remain a team that hasn't lost a series, Ryan, going into this series? And who do you think will be the MVP, the key to going into this series?
Well, number one, starting pitching's got to be big. You're right. They got to go 5, 6, 7 innings in each of these starts, give the bullpen a little bit of a break, and get it to the back end where it's been really good. And the offense has to keep doing what it's been doing. Don't change anything. Hunt your windows, stay with your approach, don't deviate from it unless the pitchers prove that they are going to go a different way and you have to deviate. Just keep doing what you guys are doing offensively because it's been the best in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. So those are my keys to the series. And I am going with big, thick Austin Riley to have another big series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Anytime the Phillies come to his town or he goes to Philadelphia, he just flips a switch and he becomes the Terminator of the Philadelphia Phillies for a series. So I'm going big, thick Austin Riley.
Sounds like good. I think that's good points. And how about you, Ben? What do you think it takes for us to win this series?
Starting pitching for sure. But I think the offense really has to keep going and doing what they're doing. You're going to have Andrew Painter going in game one, and then you're going to have Zach Wheeler making his season debut in game two. And then who's going in game three again?
Aaron Nola.
Aaron Nola. Okay. You know, I'm sorry. I know Aaron Nola's had a great career, but the past couple years, he has just been terrible, for lack of a better word. Zach Wheeler, we know he's getting a little gray in that beard, a little long in the tooth, if you will, and making his season debut after a really, really serious issue that he was dealing with. You got to take advantage, and Andrew Painter is a rookie, so very talented rookie, but still a rookie. You got to take advantage of that starting pitching matchup. You just have to, and the offense needs to continue doing what they're doing. And then, my pick to click, I really do think Ozzy Albies is going to have a big series. I think that, he's looked really good at the plate this year, from both sides of the plate too, left side and from the right side. So that's my pick to click and my key to the series.
That's a pretty good pick to click. He's going to face three right-handers. That's how much Ben believes in Ozzy and how he's turned it around, and I agree with you. My pick to click is going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's Yastrzemski. I think he's starting to swing the bat well, and I expect him to put some really good swings on this weekend. He gets the three right-handed pitchers, and I expect him to hit a home run. So this series, so we've been pretty good on that. I think also the keys is the pitching. Get us into the sixth, seventh inning, and we should win the game with this offense. We all think 2 out of 3, I think, and then there's a possibility if we can win the first night, win that Friday night, we can win all three. Ben's all on us winning all three. We'll see. Wheeler, I have a past history with Zach. My son was 10 when Zach was 14, playing in the same travel, and I got to know him. So I've known the Wheeler family. It's going to be an emotional night. I hope he gets an applause because it was a series. Then I hope we hang 7 on him in about the 4th inning, so he can feel good for 3 innings, and then we get him on out of there. And so that's how we look at the Phillies coming up. And as far as hardcore Braves coming up, we've got so much content. And we're going to start with Ryan. He's killing on Braves Hip Coil, and I know he's got a great segment coming up this weekend. Y'all got all weekend to look at it on our number one player. So you want to tell us what you got going on, Ryan?
Y'all have been asking for it, and some have y'all been begging for it. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s breakdown of why he has struggled to begin the season is out. It is out right now. So once you're done listening to the podcast, you can head on over to either the Hardcore Braves channel and find it, or you can head over to Braves Hip Coil and find it there. And if you like it, please leave a thumbs up and maybe a comment about what you liked. I would very much appreciate it, you guys.
Yeah, I agree. And make sure when all this stuff, y'all try to subscribe and follow and like. And we get so many views. So we know that you're following us. Our viewership is off the charts if we're just having a podcast now for 25 days. But the subscriptions and the follows and likes will help us get you more and more content, including bringing some of our favorite Braves onto our show and some of the broadcasters and all that. So if you want that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the follow button on all these platforms and all of our guys. Ben, I'm going to just toot your horn too because you did a thing on John Hill, and we tend to run hot, and John Hill had a great week. And I know you got your next prospect come up, so you can brag on yourself a little bit because you hit John Hill right in the mouth, and he backed you up this week. So what you got coming up?
Yeah, man, John Hill. I did my video on him, and it released last week on Sunday, and the guy ended up jumping his batting average and OPS up. I think the batting average jumped up close to 75 points, and then the OPS ended up jumping another 300 points. So toot toot. All right, I'm going to toot my own horn because if I don't do it, nobody else will, except for you, Ken. You did a good job on that. But no, the next prospect that I'm going to be looking at in my next Ben's Baby Braves segment is going to be none other than the first round pick from the 2025 draft, Tate Southasine. All right, he's a 19-year-old shortstop / outfielder, and he has been phenomenal this year, OPSing over 900 in his first season in full professional ball, and he's looked amazing so far this year. Last year he had a little bit of a hiccup, but it's to be expected whenever you're fresh out of high school facing professional pitchers. So I'm excited. Hope you guys are too, and we'll get that released this weekend.
Sounds good. And we got as far as the coaches corner coming up, I'm gonna know which one of these guys are gonna have the time, but I want to try to get one of them on. We do have to have our monthly recap coming up during the Tigers series. So I'll have that this week. I'll maybe try to have a mailbag, but next week is very busy with us with the end of the month and stuff coming on. So we might not do a mailbag, might just do a coaches corner around how we feel the coaches have done. It's more from a coach's perspective. And so we'll get to brag on Walt and them fully. Aaron is pumping stuff out on TikTok. Get on TikTok and follow Aaron. You follow at Hardcore Braves. And but Aaron is crushing it. Her videos are getting, I think, even better, guys, don't you? I mean, she's getting we may not have her long with All Around Us. She might be on Braves Vision one day here soon, so that's okay. Uh, Lethal's going to do a series. I don't know if he's doing on Augusta or Rome, but he's just going to start taking a team and targeting them. I'm looking forward to that Tuesday. All our minor league teams are crushing it, boys. They're
Yeah,
looking
man.
good. So, so far so good in the Atlanta Braves. So, our final thought tonight before we get out of here, Ryan, what do you got?
God, it sucks to be the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets, and I am absolutely bleeping loving it, especially since we were you guys last year. So I hope you suffer the entire season, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
That's with love, boys. That's with love. We love y'all to be in pain. So understand, we love for y'all to be in pain. It's a place from love right here. So Ben, what do you got for your final thought?
I just hope we beat the Phillies like a redheaded stepchild. All right. Like I want to beat the Phillies so bad, man. Like seeing their fans in misery because their favorite baseball team is performing the way that we performed, or our favorite baseball team performed last year, just makes my heart happy. You know, like Ryan, we're just happy guys right now. There's a lot of smiles going on in our households, and no, I really do hope that we can sweep this series, and it's we can do it. Kick them while they're down. That's the best way to do it.
I totally agree. And my final thought is Saturday night's going to be a special night in the stadium. Get there early. Brian Snicker is going to have his Hall of Fame induction ceremony on the field. And of course, again, Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Emotional return. He's an Atlanta kid. So I'm sure the ballpark's going to be packed. So make sure you get down there and make a ton of noise and always support our Braves. And so that's my final thought. So, guys, you know where we are at Braves Homer 27, at Braves Hip Coil, at Weaver _cars, at Aaron on Deck, at Lethal Platty, at Boyd PC, and as always, at Hardcore Braves on all the social platforms. We love you, Braves Country. And as always, peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.